are with the fourth installment of Res Ducis. We're going to start with the flat snap. This is not a snap, this is a cut. This can be a flat cut because it's flat to the ground, parallel to the ground, but it's still a cutting motion as opposed to a snapping motion. We have a flat snap. We also have a vertical snap. We also have what I call a basic snap, which is not quite flat, not quite vertical. It's at the angle that's the easiest to throw. The easiest to throw with speed and power, which is probably about 30 degrees off the center. Vertical snap, flat snap, basic snap. You can also throw what's generally called a rising flat snap, and I've seen this term used two different ways. One starts out as a snap that starts towards the leg, and then the hand goes up and it ends as a regular flat snap. Hand starts low as a fake and ends as a regular flat snap. Hand starts low as a fake, ends as a regular flat snap. It's also sometimes used for throwing a flat snap and letting the hand go up at the end of the flat snap so that the point is down to get over the edge of a shield. A flat cut, a flat snap, a vertical snap, a basic snap, and a rising flat snap, and a variation of a rising flat snap. What you don't want to get into with the flat snap, and I don't do this so I'm not going to throw it very well, what you don't want to get into is the idea of your flat snap at the end, the hand goes up as if you're trying to get more power, when actually what you're doing is you're getting less power and throwing the force upwards off the helmet instead of into the helmet. Flat snap can be to the head, to the body, or to the leg. Next we go to offside. Offside shots, a basic back cut. In the old days we used to start teaching a back cut within Asgard by doing what we call a full back cut. You move over to a cross block and cut across the body. So it looks like this. It all becomes one motion. Bam, there's a back cut. Bam. Once you get over the power generation, once you get to the feeling of being able to throw that hard, then you get to where you can cut it short and throw a back cut from a normal starting position, or even throw a back cut from a tent block. Back cut. What I tend to throw more than a back cut per se is a snap, and it looks just like the flat snap, or the vertical snap, or the basic snap. It's a back snap. Once again, it's not completely flat to the back side because I have to clear my own head. You can do the same thing from here and make it be a snap. Then the hand is moving in a straight forward motion. It's a little bit awkward, and it's still a snap. The reason I mention that is because it's going to come up in a combo we're going to teach in a later video. Next we have the Molinet, which is the first torque we're going to talk about. A basic Molinet is a vertical shot. From tent block, it's a vertical strike. What makes it a Molinet as opposed to a downward cut is the mechanics of the shot. If you notice, my hand rotates around the center of mass of the sword. Power is generated by having a lot of tip speed. It looks like this. Go to the other side. Facing the camera. The first variation we have of that is the broken-wristed Molinet. We call it a broken-wristed Molinet because in order for it to work right, the wrist has to be bent backwards. If the wrist isn't bent backwards, if the wrist is in a neutral position, the blow is going to hit flat. From the same starting position, instead of the vertical Molinet, now it's going to turn into this shot. Now if you notice, the tip strikes at a downward angle. The plane of it is forward. Notice my palm is up. That's how I'm not hitting flat. In the old days, when everybody threw a lot of Molinets and broken-wristed Molinets and fought with side strap shields, and particularly small shields at very close range, we grew so accustomed to the Molinet and the broken-wristed Molinet that coverage becomes tighter and tighter, and you begin to block those shots better. Comes to the point where from here you can angle up and out and up and out and up and out, but you can only go so far and it's still blocked. And so the solution to that back in the day was to throw a retique. And a retique looks just like a broken-wristed Molinet, except that I'm going to curl my wrist the opposite direction in order to get a little bit more depth, and I'm going to throw it at an even more downward angle. And I can't throw it hard without having a target, but you'll get this. Here's what it looks like slow. There's the retique. That's the retique. And if you notice, it comes at an up and downward angle to strike over the corner of the shield. And unlike the vertical molinet, my hand is further over to give me more coverage. And it can come in more flat or more down, depending on how it angles. But it's all a retique. And I'm hitting with the back edge of the blade. I can't be completely flat because my hand won't curl that far. It has to have a downward angle. Once again, retique. That's also a retique. You notice it's straight down, more to the side, more deep. It's not flat. Retique, 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 retique. You don't see much of them anymore because fighting has changed, positions have changed to the point where 99% of the time the broken wristed molinet is just as good. The broken wristed molinet doesn't have the disadvantage of harming yourself if you miss your target. Molinet and the broken wristed molinet and the retique, those are all what I classify as torques. Another torque is what we call a fishtail, the way that a lot of people learn the molinet, which is to start with an upward motion and flip the sword over. And it looks like this, and this is the fishtail. It can start as a leg cut and turn into a fishtail. It can start out as any other blow. Usually it's an upward motion, usually leading with the back of the blade. And for the beginning is the easiest way to throw it. You can also vary a fishtail to make a vertical shot to the offside that looks like that. Okay, it's still a torque, it's still a fishtail. It's a variation of a fishtail, variation of a fishtail.